Gross. That is gross. I hate it. It's unclean. Kill a bird. Kill a bird. Kill 4 birds, Hey guys, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I read Bible so that you don't have to. And we're here almost midway point in Leviticus. That's right. We've been trudging through Leviticus, and people warned me. They warned me. They said, "Oh, you're not going to enjoy that. You are not going to have fun with Leviticus. It is not enjoyable." It was difficult, but I think more or less, and I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying not to be a negative Nancy. Which, by the way, poor Nancy. It's getting better. There's been some interesting moments and some interesting ideas to go over. And so, you know what? Give it another chance. As Abba says, take a chance, 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 take a chance. Anyway, we're here at Leviticus chapter 15, and if you would be so kind, real quick, and you can always unsubscribe, just subscribe real quick. You can always unsubscribe, okay? If you haven't subscribed yet and you're like, I don't know if this is going to be good, just subscribe, risk it. You can always back out, like the video, and then sometime during the video, comment on it. Just be like, oh, that's hilarious, or that's disgusting, or Yahweh, no, which is what I would comment if I was watching these. All right, so let's get into it. Leviticus chapter 15. Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel and tell them, when any man has a discharge from his body," oh, it's getting personal, "because of his discharge, he is unclean." Okay, like any kind of discharge, like any time, like any kind of discharge, or is it just like a leak, like a kind of a leak that like wasn't worked up, like nobody purposely worked up the leak. It's just something that like, oh, what's happening? Is this a discharge while you're sleeping? Is this about wet dreams? Maybe it is. Let's keep reading. Actually, this might be funnier than I could even hope for. "This shall be his uncleanliness in his discharge, whether his body runs with this discharge or his body has stopped from his discharge. It is his uncleanliness." Okay, so this isn't just like overnight. This is just like you're leaking. You're dripping. If a guy has some sort of STI, probably, he's unclean, which a lot of them are treatable. So, I don't think it's always unclean, but yeah, for the time being, get checked. Every bed on which he who has the discharge lies shall be unclean, and everything he sits on shall be unclean. Whoever touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. Hey guys, don't go to bed with a guy who's got a leaky, member. He who sits on anything, on someone's face, for instance, on which the man who has the discharge sat, shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. Man, we do not like discharges. Like, look, I don't like the idea of like unclean. They being Yahweh, has no idea what could be possibly going on with this man's body. He's just not that aware of what he made. He doesn't know how to fix it. In this case, it probably is antibiotics. He hasn't invented those things yet. There's no invention for Yahweh. He hasn't come up with that. I guess he doesn't know about it. I mean, that really slaps you in the face. Yahweh doesn't know something. Yahweh doesn't know something. That's crazy. He doesn't know anything. Really, genuinely, he doesn't know anything. This feels a lot like that episode of Seinfeld. I forget who it is, but they say that they got some sort of an STI from sitting on a tractor. And everyone laughs because that's like impossible, I guess. A very silly idea. But here, like, let's not sit on anything this guy sits on. Let's not lay in any beds this guy's laid in, because you're going to get the same discharge. He who touches the body of him who has the discharge shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. If he who has the discharge spits on him who is clean, what? Then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. Okay, I was going to leave this alone. We're using male pronouns. So these guys, they're lovers. Let's put it that way. It seems as though they're lying in the same bed together. They are touching each other, and they're getting a little bit kinky. The one guy's spitting on the other guy, and some people are into that. Don't judge. If it's consensual, they're having a fun time together. They're having a lovely time. It comes with risks. You might be unclean if you touch on the same bed. If the guy spits on you, it's fun, but it comes with some risks. Okay, no one's saying don't do it, by the way. Yahweh is just like, you guys are going to do it. It's a hoot. This is why I created you. I mean, it's super fun. And I love watching it, by the way. If he's unclean, you gotta wash some clothes. Whatever saddle, we got the saddle going on. I thought, I would have figured they would have enjoyed riding bareback more. Whatever saddle he who has the discharge rides on shall be unclean. Whoever touches anything that was under him shall be unclean, even the other guy, until the evening. He who carries those things shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. We get it. We kind of get it. Like, whatever he sits on, unclean. Can you tell us how to get him clean? Is that going to come up, Yahweh? Whomever he who has the discharge touches, without having rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. The earthen vessel which he who has the discharge touches shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. Okay, that's weird, because I thought the earthen vessel, porous, discharge can leach into it, but wood, more porous. Definitely leaching can happen. So this is where, I thought they were smart. They proved me wrong again. When he who has a discharge is cleansed of his discharge, how does that work? Then he shall count to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be clean. 1. 24 hours later. 2. He's counting for himself 7 days. On the 8th day he shall take 2 turtle doves, 2 young pigeons, and come before Yahweh to the door of the tent of meeting, and give them to the priest. The priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering, the other for a burnt offering. The priest shall make atonement for him before Yahweh for his discharge. You dirty sinner, you're leaking. So gross. I think it's like anything that's a little bit, gross. We gotta kill something for this. There's something gross happening over here. Can we do something else gross? Can we bleed something out onto an altar because of this gross thing that's happening? If any man has an emission of semen, then he shall bathe all his flesh in water and be unclean until the evening. Every garment and every skin which the semen is on shall be washed with water and be unclean until the evening. If a man lies with a woman, big mistake, and there is an emission of semen, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the evening. With a man, No problem. That's perfectly fine. I bet you there were people in this time of Bible, they'd get a call. Hezekiah would show up to the door and he'd be like, Joshua, would you like to come out and play? And Joshua would be like, I'm unclean. I'm unclean. And he was hot. Okay? He was a piece of ass. We had a great time. So, I'm going to be unclean for a while. But maybe I can get unclean with you tomorrow, Hezekiah. That kind of thing. He probably loved being unclean. The only thing is that I'm worried they're going to have to do some sort of a weird killing of some sort of turtle doves or pigeons every time they emit semen. That's way too many turtle doves and way too many pigeons. I hope that it's not the case that they have to do this. But it feels like that's going to happen. I mean, how many times a day can you kill a bird? If a woman has discharge and her discharge in her flesh is blood, she shall be in her impurity 7 days. We got word of this a few chapters earlier. Whoever touches her shall be unclean until the evening. This is obviously hateful towards women, but it's any sort of discharge. The men are having discharge, they're unclean. The women are having discharge, they're unclean. We don't like fluids. We like the blood of animals, but we don't want fluids coming out of people. It's disturbing to us. We don't understand it. What's happening? I keep on saying it like, oh, these are some wacky people that just don't know what's happening. It's just perfectly normal human stuff. This is Yahweh. This is Yahweh. Yahweh is like, semen's gross. I don't like it. Oh no, she's on her period? That's impure. That's impure. I don't like that. Gross. You made it. You made it. This is your system. The whole stupid thing is your system. If you don't like periods, by the way, women aren't big fans of it either, God. You added the cramping in there. That's not nice. You didn't have to do that. But now to call them unclean for something that you made is rude and obnoxious. Do you know how that's going to make people feel? You're a monster. That's me praying, by the way. This is how I pray. Everything that she lies on in her impurity shall be unclean. Everything also that she sits on shall be unclean. Whoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. Whoever touches anything that she sits on shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. If it is on the bed or anything she sits on, when he touches it, he shall be unclean until the evening. If any man lies with her, and her monthly flow is on him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and every bed he lies on shall be unclean. He's like, I don't like that I made that. Don't touch her. Ooh, don't touch her. Ooh, she's gross. Yahweh, grow up. Get over this stuff. You love blood. That's the thing. You love blood. You are obsessed with blood. Why is a ram's blood fine? A turtle dove squeezing blood out on, why is that fine? But this natural process that you invented. Oh, don't touch her. Don't touch her. But let the priest sprinkle blood in your face. That's actually how you clean people. No, because God did this, and it makes sense because the blood of the turtle dove represents the blood of the pigeon represents a message. He's a messenger pigeon, and so it makes sense. If a woman has a discharge of her blood many days, not in the time of her period, this is concerning, or if she has a discharge beyond the time of her period, all the days of the discharge of her uncleanliness shall be as in the days of her period. Are we not concerned? Oh, she's dirty, but what's going on? Why is she? I don't know why she's bleeding, but she's unclean. Every bed she lies on all the days of her discharge shall be to her as the bed of her period. Everything she sits on shall be unclean as the uncleanliness of her period. Whoever touches these things shall be unclean and shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. So there's this weird thing. This is bad. This is bad blood. Human blood is bad blood. Animal blood, we love it. Animal blood, good blood. We want it sprinkled on us, touched on us. We want it everywhere. We want it poured in the sand. We want it smeared on things. We love this blood. We're obsessed with it. Fast forward to Jesus' blood, love that blood. That is the best blood. We can't get enough of that blood. If you could drink that blood, you can drink that blood. What am I talking about? I thought I was making a joke, and then I realized, no. People think they drink that blood. I mean, they are vampires for this blood. This is the best blood of all time. It's a very strange relationship with blood. Why is our blood so disgusting? Why is human blood the worst blood? Why is Jesus' blood equivalent of an animal's blood? I guess animals are innocent or something like that. These are just questions. I don't really have an answer. But if she is cleansed of her discharge, then she shall count to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. On the 8th day she shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons and bring them to the priest to the door of the tent of meeting. The priest shall offer one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her before Yahweh for the uncleanliness of her discharge. I mean, it's just like that house all over again. This is particularly hateful towards women, especially the period stuff. And I would say that the semen emission thing too is like these natural things that are not unclean. They are just like things that happen with the body that Yahweh gave you. It's just crazy to need to kill a bird for that. What's illogical about that? Why is that? What are you talking about? You got to kill a bird. We're not under that covenant. Why did he ever want you to kill a bird for that? Thus you shall separate the children of Israel from their uncleanliness, so they will not die in their uncleanliness when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him who has a discharge and of him who has an emission of semen, so that he is unclean by it, and of her who has her period, and of a man or woman who has a discharge, and of him who lies with her who is unclean. Another wackadoo chapter of Leviticus. And I actually have a solution for this whole thing. Don't make it that way. You know what I mean? Because there's no free will here. There's nothing that, well, it's like that because of free will. Like God was just like, we're going to have semen flying all over the place. That's gross. Whatever it touches, gross. Blood pouring out of people, gross. Whatever it touches, disgusting. But, you know, intrinsic to procreation, which I actually told you to do. I said, be fruitful and multiply. All I want you guys to do is keep the cycle going. You know, do not get an IUD that stops your period. That's probably, I bet you any money, IUDs are like, you know, the Catholics for sure are against those. We want to keep those cycles going. We love that. We want to keep the semen flying. But if anything touches it, if anything touches the things that are necessary for life, gross. That is gross. I hate it. It's unclean. Kill a bird. Kill a bird. Kill 4 birds, you know. Have you read this? Have you thought it through? Like, pay attention. This is your religion. Like, you believe this? I'm preaching to the choir. I'm not talking to any Christians. They are not interested in this book. Guys, thanks for joining me. That was chapter 15. What a riot, these dumb laws that definitely Yahweh didn't come up. There's no Yahweh, but human beings wrote this, human beings that didn't know anything. But listen, have a beautiful week or month or maybe even your year. Just joking. We'll see you in a few days for chapter 16. Bye. emitted some semen. I'm worried that I'm going to get flagged for saying horrible things, but I'm literally just reading the Bible. So I don't think that that's fair.